Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the top 25 Junkwax era cards that sold on eBay in May 2025. What I define as Junkwax era is 87 through 94. These are just going to be single cards, so no duplicates are allowed unless there's an autograph or a variant, ungraded and raw, although all these will be graded. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at our list. And we're going to start off with a 1989 Fleer Billy Ripken FF error card. This got the dual 10 grade, both for the autograph and the card itself. And it sold for $2,838. Now, imagine how expensive this card would be if it was Cal Ripken. Although I do think there's a lot of value added into this card because of the Ripken family. Up next, we have a 1987 Topps Tiffany Bo Jackson. Again, a dual autograph on these with the 10-10, right? Autograph being a 10 and the grade being a 10. And 87 Tiffany was one of the most mass-produced Tiffany sets out there, but they are still significantly rarer than the normal base Topps. We have a 1988 Michael Jordan card number 17 in a PSA 10, and this copy over here sold for $3,200. 1993 Ken Griffey Jr. Refractor, first year of refractor cards from 93 Finest. This copy over here sold for $3,600. 1989 Topps traded Ken Griffey Jr. Tiffany, which I believe they had significantly less than the 87s. Correct me if I am wrong. I don't have the Tiffany sheet in front of me. But regardless, this one over here sold for $3,706. Up in the number 20 spot, we have a 1991 Topps Desert Shield of Nolan Ryan in a PSA 10 grade. I always say be careful with these cards because there's a ton of fakes of Desert Shields out there. And this copy sold for $3,843. One of the few ways that there is scarcity back in this Junkwax era with Topps cards, of there being Tiffany and then some other OPGs and stuff like that. So this is kind of a shocking sale, but a 1989 Topps Tiffany Randy Johnson in a 10 outsold the Ken Griffey Jr. that we saw a few slides earlier. This copy sold for $4,000. Now, obviously, Ken Griffey Jr. is a way more popular player. Randy Johnson, in my opinion, is still a top 10 pitcher of all time. Ken Griffey Jr., I don't know if he's a top 10 position player of all time. Regardless, a lot more people will collect Ken Griffey. And typically his prices are way higher. And you can see that clearly in like a 1989 Upper Deck. But for some reason, this Topps Tiffany of Randy Johnson outsold the Griffey. Number 18, 1992 Bowman Mariano Rivera Dual 10. One of the nicest autographs in the hobby. Although I don't know if this card deserves a 10 with the autograph. It could be the picture, but it looks like there's some fading here at the very end. Regardless, this copy over here sold for $4,000. We have a 1990 score, Bo Jackson. This has the pristine 10 grade, 10 for centering, 9-5 edges, 10 corners, 10 surface. This one sold for $4,145. Fun fact, you cannot get this card signed. A 1989 Fleer sticker of Michael Jordan card number 3. This achieved the PSA 10 grade, and it sold for $4,450. Number 15, we have a 1993 SP Derek Jeter foil in a PSA 9 grade. It sold for $4,500, and a huge jump if you can get this card in a 10. 1992 Shaquille O'Neal Beam Team. There's two versions of this card, just normal Beam Team and then also the members only. This copy over here, just the normal Beam Team, sold for $4,800. 1989 score, Barry Sanders dual PSA 10 for the card itself, as well as the autograph. This over here has been featured in a lot of videos, $5,001. Number 12, we have a 1987 Fleer Chuck Person PSA 10 going into someone's registry, $5,138. Don't worry though, we'll see another registry style card a little bit later in the video. This is a 1988 Fleer Michael Jordan All-Star card number 120 in a PSA 10. This one over here sold for $6,400. Now, before we jump into our honorable mentions, I want to say this video is sponsored by Check Out My Card. Now, I use ComC almost every day, and I actually buy and sell a lot of Junkwax era cards. I've shown it in my series on here, but like if you go over to my seller stats and you go to any month, right, sales by month, you'll see tons and tons. And like, let's go to May, for example, on this side of things, right? And if I scroll down, like in 1988, Dominic Wilkins, Steve Johnson on the basketball side. And they're not super expensive cards, right? But like take 46 cents into 89 cents, and you're able to upgrade into some really awesome stuff. Spud Webb, right? Here's another one on that side of things. Where's some more Junkwax? You can see all these Frank Thomas cards, right? Someone listed a bunch at $1, and I just bought them all up and repriced them at $1.15. Now, am I getting rich from this? No, but it can go into some other cards that I keep for my own personal collection. And I'll be showing you guys that in another video. 89 Fleer of Nolan Ryan. But also if you're submitting cards, right? Like if you have graded Junkwax era cards, or just graded cards sitting around in your collection that you don't want to keep anymore, ComC is a great way because you can upgrade into things that you personally want. And just to show you something that I just purchased on here, it's actually in grading right now. If I go over here into grading submissions, I went from Junkwax era into buying this Jack Johnson postcard from the 1920s. Don't know for sure if I will be keeping it, depends on the grade, but just an example of upgrading commons into something really awesome. I have some other cards in here as well on that side of things. But anyways, thank you ComC for sponsoring this video. If you want to check out all the cards that I have for sale, including tons and tons of Junkwax era cards, the link is going to be down below in the description. That same link will allow you also to create an account on the platform. Again, I have tons of videos on ComC, and I'm also making a tutorial series so that way you guys know how to use the platform. Anyways, back into the Junkwax era sales. All right, let's take a look at the honorable mentions. Up first, we have a Clyde Drexler from 1991 Skybox Dual 9, but with a ton of inscriptions on here. This one sold for $1,876. Up next, we have a Mickey Mantle Ken Griffey Jr. with just the Griffey autograph, a Dual 8 on the grade. This sold for $2,500. We have a 1994 SP die cut of Alex Rodriguez. I do believe the die cuts are tougher to get in higher grades. Correct me if I'm wrong. This copy sold for $2,500. A 1991 Desert Shield of Mark McGuire, top selling athletes in the Junkwax era. This sold for $2,550. 1991 Ricky Henderson Desert Shield, $2,650, with this being in a 10. And speaking of 10, let's take a look at our top 10 sales last month. We're going to start off with a no name on front. One of the, I would say probably the most iconic air card in the hobby. This in a 5 sold for $6,606. Shaq. This is the members only version, which has like an embedded stamp on the card. You can kind of see it in this picture. And this copy over here sold for $7,000 in a SGC 10. Up in the number 8 spot, we have a 1989 starting lineup of Michael Jordan. This one sold for $8,500. We have a 1990 Emmitt Smith score supplemental dual 10 on the card and the autograph itself. I've sent in, I think, 1 or 2 of these cards before, or I bought it graded at the show. I can't remember. But I only had these in 9s before, not in a 10. This sold for $8,500. Number 6 is a members only from 92 Stadium Club as well. This time we have Michael Jordan, which outsells the Shaq rookie card. This one over here sold for $8,599. And actually this one, you can see the stamp way easier. It is right over here. Up in number 5 spot, we have a starting lineup, Michael Jordan signed. This one doesn't have a grade on the autograph, although I would assume this would be a 10. But the card itself is graded as an 8. This sold for $8,937. Another Desert Shield, Ken Griffey Jr. in a 10. $9,400 on this copy. In the number 3 spot, the dual autograph of Mantle as well as Ken Griffey Jr. This card just has the autos graded, not the card itself. The card itself looks okay. You can see some corner damage over there on that side of things. $11,500. Up in the number 2 spot, Griffey Dual 10. This sold for $22,000. One of the most famous cards, though, in the Junkwax era. All right, let's take a look at number 1. That is going to be a Manute Bull, card number 13 from 87 Fleer. I have a full video on 87 Fleer if you want to learn more about that set. Ton of research into it, but not a lot of people have watched it. $22,222. Wow. That's probably way more than what I put this card as in that video, and that's because some of these commons in the set barely have any 10s, and a lot of set registry collectors fight over them. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for checking it out, and playlist here on the channel right now, some other Junkwax videos if you want to check that out, and I will catch you in another video.